Yeah, we got a few people. All right, welcome. So yeah, we thought we'd do a little extra stream today and a bit of kind of an introduction into NFTs. And we've got Chanel here, who is a creator of a really cool NFT project called Toasties. She'll be able to talk a bit about her project in just a moment. And yeah, it's just an opportunity for us as more of a trading community to learn from Chanel about the NFT space and the crazy world that it is. Because yeah, so yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I'm very excited
Chanel,
to be
you don't mind me calling you Mother Doe, right?
No.
Do you prefer Mother Doe over Chanel? I like that name, so.
You like Mother Doe? Sure, you can go for it.
Yeah, for anybody that doesn't know, Chanel goes by the handle Mother Doe in the Toasty community. So she's well recognized there.
I thought it was funny when I started and then it stuck.
How are you doing today, by the way?
I'm doing okay. I think I had some time to sleep today, so that was good. Even though it's day one, I shouldn't be sleeping, but I think the stress before the launch was too much, so I had to sleep for a bit. Yeah, so I'm actually doing really well right now. Yeah.
So I think I'll go over a little bit about how we found your community, and then we can go into you, and then you can explain what your community is about, and then we can branch off from there. So as Luke was saying, we're a trading community, but we've recently been branching out into NFTs, into the space, just trying to get accustomed with it, seeing a few projects. And in fact, one day we were on a live stream, and we were on, I think, CoinMarketCap, and we saw, and they have a bunch of NFT projects on there, and out of all the NFT projects, the Toasties was the one that caught everybody's eye. I mean, there must have been at least 30, 40 projects there, and it caught our eye, and immediately we were drawn to it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's something good. There's definitely, it catches your eye, and we were drawn to it. So then we started flooding into the Discord. We saw that it's not long to go before the mint. And in fact, what really set you apart in my eyes was I've been in a lot of AMAs from different projects, even much more well-funded projects. I mean, like who have millions of dollars invested into them. And your AMA was so professional, and just the way you did it, and just the way you spoke. And I like the fact that you're not just in the NFT scene, in my eyes, just for the money. I mean, you went to New York, you went to hang out with all these NFT guys. You seem really, really deeply involved into the NFT scene. And I just, something has to be said about the artwork. I think the artwork is, it's a bit of fun, and I really enjoy it.
Thank you. I'm so glad to hear that, because I've had my head down and doing it for the last couple of weeks. That I have to say, I feel like I'm losing touch of what's going on in NFT sales on the side of things, because when I first started, I was kind of like you guys. I just wanted to buy some. So then I would be surveying a lot of different projects and seeing what's the trend or what's coming out. And then I went off to do my own thing. So I stopped looking at what other people are doing. So it's really lovely to hear that when you're looking at 30 to 40 projects on CoinMarketCap, this one stood out to you. And I'm also really thankful to hear that the AMA was satisfactory. Which AMA was it? Was it the one yesterday or like?
No, I think it was about 2 weeks ago or 10 days ago.
Oh wow! Yeah. Wow. Also, you've been in the community since that time. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually I hadn't had a chance to join any of the AMAs or anything that you've done. So I guess this is almost my AMA as well for for you to ask some questions and things as well about about your projects and things. But yeah, I had a few questions I wanted to ask as well. Just first of all, like it would be really interesting to hear a bit more about yourself, like how you got into NFTs in the first place. Yeah. So what was it about them that like really got you interested into the NFT space? And we had a question in the chat earlier from Money Badger, just wanted to know what was the first NFT you bought. So just a little bit of background.
Yes, of course. Okay, so I learned about crypto in 2017. Okay, so I'm starting with crypto first because I think like the barrier to entry for NFTs is you have to know crypto first. And then I bought like a little bit of ETH at the all-time high of 2017. By the time I had my account up, it was all-time high. And then everything plunged. So for 3 years, I didn't really come back to the space. Sometime in the middle of this year, my ex-college professor, linked me up with one of his other ex-students who is the CEO of Alethea AI. So if you guys are looking at this project now, Alethea AI, they're really well funded. They've done multiple rounds of funding now. Mark Cuban, IDEO, they've invested in this company, and he introduced their project to me on artificially intelligent NFTs. So that takes NFTs to the whole next level. So I roughly knew what NFTs were, but I wasn't, looking very much into the space, or I didn't even consider being an NFT creator until maybe August. But when I learned about his project, that's when I fell down the rabbit hole, and we were connected to talk about potential job in that company. So he wanted to hire someone out in Asia to do partnerships in Asia, because he's Singaporean, but he moved to the US like 2-3 years ago, and that's when he started working AI and then moving out from AI to doing AI NFTs. So that was the way into the space for me. It was actually very corporate if you think about it. It's not as if I was really just talking to him about potential job as partnerships manager. So during this period, I happened to have another job offer to do sales in marketing automation, which is closer to what I was previously doing, which was partnerships for automation tech with Workato. So Workato is automation enterprise automation software. A couple of days ago, they just announced their Series E funding. So amazing stuff to that company. But I left because I was bored by the product, even though it's a very amazing product. So it just didn't align with my personal interests. So during this June to July period, I didn't continue my discussions with Alethea AI because the back and forth was really long because they were a little bit too busy in the US. And during this whole period, I decided to take that tech sales job because I was like, okay, we have like plenty of time to work in NFTs. It's so nascent. Who knows what's going to happen? But in between the transition from my previous job at Workato to this new tech sales job, in that 1 month notice period, so the notice period in Singapore is 1 month, I just went on YouTube and kept reading about NFTs day in and day out. And by the time it was August, I was like, okay, I'm going to take 1 ETH and try and buy a few NFTs and see if I can flip them. So now that we look back on the sales stats, June was a peak. It seemed like a peak of NFTs, but in August, the peak, I think it went from like a couple 100 million to 3 billion in trading volume on OpenSea, right? So August was a new peak, and I was part of that peak in August where I took 1 ETH and decided to buy a few NFTs to create a mini flipping portfolio just as an experiment because I was so curious. I'm like, why is everyone flipping it? And I bet I could do it too. So the first NFT I ever bought was Incognito. They launched in August, early August, and I think like 3 days after that, I decided to do Toasties. But the first one I bought was Incognito. I know everything has just been non-stop since then. But I bought Incognito, and why did I buy it? At that point, all of the projects that came out were mostly 2D profile pictures. There were barely any 3D kinds of art, and even the 3D kinds of artwork were all kind of like in a Bybit style. So for those of you who are new to NFTs, Bybits is like a 3D voxel art kind of character that's created by Lava Labs. Lava Labs did CryptoPunks. So I think Bybits are quite popular, but they don't have the same kind of virality as they do other 3D collections. Anyway, back in August, there were not a lot of 3D collections. So when I saw Incognito's artwork on NFT Catcher, there was another aggregator site, I thought, okay, I kind of like how it looks, and I can potentially see people. Yeah, this one, I can potentially see people wanting to use these as their profile pictures. So I took part in their pre-sale. I was very lucky to even get one. Somehow I got one during a pre-sale. They were pretty much under the radar. Then the next day during the public sale, their volume exploded, and I don't know if it's because I don't know what their relation is to Logan Paul, but basically over the course of 24 hours, someone saw Logan Paul buying 10 of these. So the Discord went from 3,000 people to 10,000, like 10,000, 9,000 people the next day. I think I remember at one point it was 3,000, 6,000, 9,000. And it was all because people saw Logan Paul buying like 10 or 20 of these. And yeah, and then that's when I was like, oh my gosh, this thing is crazy. I didn't get one that I like, so I ended up flipping that one. But I bought two more, and I flipped one that that looked really nice. It's a glass-based one. But ever since then, the project has kind of tanked. So I'm glad I flipped it when I got the chance to flip it. So that was that was my first experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I see the floor
yeah.
price has gone down to like 0.059 on that now, so it's
Yeah.
got in and out at the right time.
Yeah. I have my own theory on why the floor price dropped. Basically, I think, but this is my just my own opinion from the sidelines. Because I only dip in and out of their Discord recently. I mean, recently I have not been going in to see, but I think what happened is everyone started demanding utility out of their product when I feel like their collection was designed to just be high quality 3D images. And I feel like they got pulled in many different directions by what everyone wanted because everyone paid into the project and therefore they feel like they, obviously everyone must have a say, right? So I think that kind of diluted the intention of what they wanted to do, which it's not necessarily always a good thing. So I think the community management is a little bit scattered. At least that's my own interpretation of what happened. And I think it doesn't help also that the founders are anonymous. Yeah. Even though when I bought it, I did see some research. So one of the founders of the Incognito project, they did something called Picasso Punks. They worked on something called Picasso Punks, which I thought was a pretty cool derivative of the crypto punks. That being said, I guess it's not easy. It's not easy doing NFT projects. So yeah, maybe the price will come back, maybe not. But for now, I think they are being pulled in too many directions. Yeah.
Cool. I think that like kind of leads on to another question I had as well, which is like, so there's a lot of people, especially people that have been into crypto previously, and who have it like from a trading background or have been trading tokens and things. The NFT space seems to almost be like, it's almost like ICOs were back in 2017, where you have so many projects coming out all the time. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can.
All right, cool. Yeah, just froze for a minute. There are so many projects coming out all the time, and it's a case of like some of them will do really well. So we've seen like the Bored Apes and the Penguins and the CryptoPunks and all of those things, but there's so many that will just be launched. You don't quite know who's behind the project, like you said. So that with these incognito ones, they were anonymous, and it seems from like someone who's experienced like the ICO boom of 2017 and known about like the scams and things and just the kind of dangerous nature of getting into this kind of thing back then, that it's very similar like that with NFTs now. So what do you think are like some of the main things for that you think like either as someone who's created an NFT, something that you can do to build trust for people who are investors or looking to trade or looking to get into this kind of space? What do you think that NFTs need to do to kind of build that trust with the investor or the customer kind of thing as well?
Right. I think a fantastic question. I mean, if I were on the buying side, I would also, vet very carefully. I think there's a lot more supply than there is demand now, which wasn't the case in June or August. I think in August, you could drop anything and someone would still buy it. Yeah. So I think the number one thing is track record of what the person has done before, and I think for myself, I knew when I did this, I would have to definitely dox myself. I was like, okay, there's no way I want to be anonymous. Also because I think it's very hard to get investor confidence as an anonymous player unless you've already been anonymous for like years and you've already had some sort of track record. But for me, I'm like completely coming into this from a totally different industry. So that was one thing. Other reasons, sorry, other things to really vet. I think the roadmap, right? Okay, let's talk about the roadmap. So every single NFT project has a roadmap, which is an even more watered down presentation pitch than you would do for like startup fundraising. And I think if you see something that promises the world in a time span that clearly doesn't make sense, then I think that's something that should be a red flag. I keep adjusting mine as I've gone along, because I put it down and realized like, okay, I'm not gonna make it, in that particular quarter. I'm gonna move it along. I'm gonna explain why. I think that all those things are gonna be very important. And I think constant communication is also the third point, I would say, like making sure that you explain the changes that are going on the way, because the NFT market cycle seems to be moving in about 3-week cycles, which is very fast and a little bit inhumane. So anytime there is a shift in the trend or shift in market sentiment and the project needs to take a turn, I think it's very important that the people behind the project explain what is coming on, the rationale for doing so. I mean, of course, maybe not everyone agrees on the direction, but at least there should be that open channel for communication. I think if when things are not transparent, then that's going to be another red flag as well, because you're like, okay, dude, you just raised a whole huge bunch of money from everyone, and you're telling me you're going to do something totally different. Like that's definitely cause for concern. Yeah, so these three things.
Yeah, I agree with that completely as well, and I think it's that you even see people that, like you say, like people who are anonymous or have been for years. Even a lot of those people now we know who they are. So people are. It's not a case now where, again, like a couple of years ago and things, everyone was just an anonymous avatar on the internet, and then it got to that point where it became, I think, the more that people like just to show a face and show who you are behind whatever project, and to have that transparency, I think is really important. It's kind of why, like, I always show my face, and it, like, as a just as a trader or something, and it's that side of things that I'd agree with, that like even on kind of things like crypto Twitter and that kind of space, you have some of like the really kind of OGs from that space that now, a couple of years ago they were just an avatar, no one knew who they were, but now they're doing more things and kind of being more of a public voice, and showing who they are. And the people behind a project means a lot to me, and I think as someone who wants to invest or trade or anything into these projects, I think the people behind it is such a massive part of that. For sure.
It's like a lowering of the veil when you dox yourself. It gives investors a bit more confidence that this person isn't just going to run away, and if he does run away, at least we know who ran away. You know what I
mean? yeah, 100%. I'm like, everything is open. All my social media is open. I was not prepared for that, actually. I was quite private. My LinkedIn, I announced on my LinkedIn. So yeah.
Was it quite nerve-wracking to dox yourself? Yeah, I believe so.
It was. Okay, not so much to dox myself, because I mean, I didn't come from anonymous background, but more to announce, that I'm doing an NFT project. So I think for me it's the other way around. It's not like I was doing crypto for years and I decide to unveil who I am, but more just announcing very publicly to a lot of people in my network who don't know much about crypto, to say I'm going into NFTs, and they're like, "What? What's NFTs?" So I think for me it was the other way around. But yes, it was very nerve-wracking. I think the first day I put it on my Instagram stories, and I started making like a TikTok. I never made a TikTok until I was trying to do this. I was like, oh my gosh, I think I had to take half a day off. I was like, whoa, this is a bit scary, but I'm getting used to it.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'm just looking at my notes, see if there's any other questions. So I did have a question, like just a general one, again, just about NFTs in general, and then we'll go more into Toasties. So
sure.
Where do you see, like, as the NFT space, so it being so early now, Where do you see it kind of going in the next few years? Like, what are your hopes for NFTs in general? And yeah, just like the next 5 years for that kind of space.
Okay. Next 5 years, I think number one thing is everyone in the space now is a little bit of an echo chamber, and I think that while this was born out of the philosophy of decentralization, I think when things get mainstream, it is unlikely that most people are going to care so much about decentralization. I mean, you guys are in crypto, you know, just even the barrier to get people to download their own wallet and track their own transactions, it's not easy because not everyone wants that responsibility. Even though there are other people in the world like myself who's like, yeah, I'm happy to do that. It's the price of self-governance. But not most people don't think like that. So how is that going to affect NFTs? I think there will be some NFT born brands that cross over to the mainstream, kind of like what Phuket is doing, kind of like what Bored Ape Yacht Club is doing. But there will be even more existing IP owners, brand owners that have the resources at their fingertips to pick up the pieces from all the projects that have failed, you know, all the talent that, like, for example, myself, okay, let's say I fail. One of these companies is going to want to hire me to go in and build their NFT department with their existing brand IP and resources and their marketing budget, and then, you know, there'll be and they basically take these people who have experimented into their systems. So I don't know if there's a very pessimistic view, but I think that is the reality that we have to be prepared for. Not every NFT project will succeed. It's just natural selection. And then we're gonna see it even out where there's a bit of a mix from multinational corporations coming into the space. That being said, I do think that they will eventually be very mainstream technology, and we won't even think about how we are verifying our own how we are verifying ownership of goods anymore. It won't be images, it won't just be art. I think NFT music is the next thing to explode. Someone asked Alexis Ohanian this question at NFT NYC. What is he most bullish for? He said music, and he mentioned Blau. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Tri Blau. Blau, right? Yeah, so I think he's doing something, and he had a presentation that was, I think, really well received at the conference. Unfortunately, I was doing something else, so I couldn't attend. But when the recording comes out, I intend to watch that because Alexis Ohanian mentioned that particular project that he's doing, so I want to see what that.
Yeah, I agree.
Music, and then over time other goods. So, sorry, what was the point? I was trying to make basically
where NFTs
we'll
will be in 5 years.
All sorts of goods. Yeah, all sorts of goods. Property rights, you know, and also things that like even like textbooks, things that have resale value. Those are the things that NFTs will be used for. And I think the other thing is hopefully it becomes so easy to use that, you know, there's no transaction fees, no cost, anything. It just becomes like a better version of a digital certificate. And yeah, I think it will just be closer to being part of everyday life.
Yeah, I think again, I'd agree with that. I think it's like what we're seeing now with NFTs and with crypto and things is where all the innovation happens. It's like that innovation and the experimentation kind of phase of a new technology, and we're seeing that. And it's just because we've got the internet and it's in that space where people can very easily get involved in that like experimentation, innovation phase of things, is why we're seeing such a big boom. But I think it'll be very similar to what we've seen, again, going back to crypto 2017 and things like that, where you have the hype now, which is like almost that overinflated expectation and the overinflated value. But what that does will then drive more of this innovation more into the mainstream, because this is almost proving to, like you say, the big multinational corporations, big brands, things like big game manufacturers and things, that they'll be able to integrate NFTs and that kind of technology into their own branding, into their own product line, and things like that in the future.
Yeah.
So I do think that that's, yeah, kind of like you were saying, it seems like that's where it will go in the future.
Yeah.
We're at that innovation stage, and then
I 100% agree with you. I think we're going to see in the next probably 4 to 5 years, we're going to start getting AAA games, which are going to start incorporating NFTs. And now you've seen with the Facebook switching to Meta, there's a huge push for this so-called metaverse, and NFTs will be a huge part of it. You know, Coinbase is coming out with their own marketplace. I think NFT space is very bullish, because it's, you know, it's just crazy. The amount, just the idea itself is just amazing.
Yeah. Oh, so that's brother though.
Hey, brother Joe.
I think this leads into a good question. So
Yeah.
if you want to tell us a little about the team. So it's you yourself, and then I know it's your brother who's the coder, correct?
Yeah. Yes, correct. He's the developer. I don't think he can hear you guys, by the way, because earphones. But yeah, so it's me myself. I drew the Toasties, and but my interest really is on building the brand side of things, the business development, the partnerships, and also making the merch, the distribution. So more on that business development front. He did the full stack tech development, so the website, the deployment of the smart contract. Today we built something that I will address later on, the raffle ticket system, and what else? Oh, and also the generation of the artwork. So he did the code to randomly generate all the different traits. So yeah, that's my brother. The two of us with the core team. On the community side of things, and support side for when I need to sleep, it's my university friend. Her name is Yvonne. She is currently in Lisbon. So in the Discord, she is B-Bread. The day that I flew to New York, she was flying off to Lisbon, and she's not coming back to Singapore. Until she has no end date to come back here. So it's been pretty cool. She's been going to a lot of crypto meetups there, and also learning about the NFT space in Europe. So for now, it's the three of us, and excuse me. For the deployment of the website, my brother had some help from his friend, who also works on some stuff for the Singapore government. So there were two geniuses in my living room this morning. Yeah, so it's actually just the four of us right now. Excuse me.
Cool. Yeah, so I've just brought up the website. So as we kind of have gone into more about Toasties and the project. So I guess now we could go into just if you want to just introduce the project. I'd be really interested in hearing what gave you the idea for Tasty Toasties. What was it like? Why did you choose this as a brand?
Why a toast?
Yeah, why toast? And what was your thought process from a more of a view of because obviously you must have done some research in what you think would make a successful NFT project, because there's is it the artwork or the meme value, the utility of it, so just a little bit about the project itself and why you chose the toast.
Yeah, okay, 100%. So actually I've always wanted to start a brand called Toasty. I've had this since 2016. I wanted to start a dropshipping e-commerce site. Yeah, no, I just wanted to take cute stuff from Alibaba and dropship it in the world or something. I think that was in 2015 or 2016 when I just finished college, and then of course I got a full-time job, so I didn't bother. But the word toasty comes from a Homer Simpson gif where he's in bed and he's all rolled up and he says, I'm so warm and toasty. So I always like that word. I thought it was very cute. When we were thinking about what NFTs to do, I was like, okay, maybe I can connect this to Toasty. And then we were looking at, my brother and I were looking at all the different kinds of potential projects, and they were all animal profile pictures, and they're like, why is animals we don't get it, how many more animals do people want? So And then I was like, why not we just do some toast, generative toast. And then the idea kind of stuck. And then as I started to just doodle and draw like on paper before I drew it on Photoshop, I was reminded that one of my favorite cartoon characters, but it's not actually a cartoon, it's a Gudetama. So do you guys know Gudetama? Can't see
No,
if
I've
you're
never
nodding.
heard of
Good, okay.
Gudetama.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Gudetama, Gudetama, is a lazy egg that is very existential. He comes from Japan. He comes from the same company that develops Hello Kitty, and I think over the last few years, Gudetama is basically everywhere in Asia. Maybe not so much this year anymore, but last few years, I have like Gudetama pouches, Gudetama socks, Gudetama keychains, and I'm an adult, so you can only imagine how many more things kids have. Yeah, so this is Gudetama. He's a rare, lazy, existential egg. And that's how I realized that the potential of NFT branding is that you can create characters that you can immediately have a fan base with because people are buying into that artwork and that story, right? Then what you do with the IP after that is boundless. You can have comics, you can have merchandise, you can have mini games, and that's exactly the business model that Sanrio does with their characters, except that Sanrio isn't built on the foundation of NFT royalty systems or something like that. Yeah, so and Sanrio, who owns Hello Kitty in Asia, they are multi-million-dollar company. I think at their peak maybe worth $1 billion, but a lot of their revenue has been hit by COVID because I think a good amount of income stream comes from their physical experiences like F&B, franchising and merchandising, like Hello Kitty pop-up shop, Hello Kitty cafe, Gudetama cafe, stuff like that, and also Hello Kitty theme park. But they've been around for like 40, 60 years. Hello Kitty is 40 years old, so at least 40 years old. So when I was designing Toasties, I was like, okay, if I'm going to make these NFTs and everyone owns one, they are going to want to own them, own the IP rights, right? That's why I'm selling it. So I was like, okay, then I need to keep a couple for myself to merchandise so that I can raise the overall brand value of the entire collection. So I haven't actually published it, but the terms and conditions is that when you buy a Toasty NFT, you own the combination and the artwork for that particular slice of toast. And I only own the 5 blank ones with the stories because those are the ones that I can go and make further product lines out of. And then when those product lines are put out in a world with like toys and games and comics, then that's where the overall like brand value will rise, and then that's when the first generation assets can potentially accrue in value. It's like saying you bought a Hello Kitty trading card in 1970, right? The first ever published Hello Kitty trading card. 30 years later, Hello Kitty is like a conglomerate, and the collectors would want the first generation card. So yeah, that was basically my inspiration. Couple of things. One is the word itself from Homer Simpson, and then number 2, understanding kids, and also recognizing that I have to give a certain bit of the IP to the community, as well as keeping some for other brands to potentially put their brand expression on the characters themselves. So that's the reason Hello Kitty is so successful. It's because she's so blank that every single brand can put their own thought process on Hello Kitty when they're designing something to do with Hello Kitty. So that's what I want to do with these 5 blank characters. So if you guys gonna side and read the story, MG is the one that's most like Gudetama, like he's tired and he's lazy. So that's my personal favorite. Yeah.
I was going to ask what your favorite one was. So
yeah, MG. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. I love
one.
Yeah, I just really like the whole it seems to work because like you say, it's animals have been kind of done. There's plenty of animals out there with the NFTs and things, but I really like the concept of like it kind of makes sense. Like you go into like a sandwich shop or something and you're gonna choose your bread, you're going to choose your topping, you're going to choose your garnish and things, what you've got on there. So it's a really nice, like, just natural thing that you would get these different combinations anyway on just a loaf of bread. So that's kind of cool. And then I like the idea of just having these 5 starters. So everything will be like, whatever the NFT is, it will be on one of these slices of bread then, won't it? And then it has like the toppings and everything on top. So yeah.
And some of them, they will have the corner will be chewed off. So it's the five bases, and then there's a variant where there's a bit of a bite mark. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. I guess so another thing as well, obviously, you're doing the mint process of that now. Right. So I was going to say a few of us within the community, we've already taken part in the mint, just to support the projects, and also we just think it's really cool. I could show. So this is I've just got a blank thing here, but this is the mint site. So if you go onto the main page, there is a like go to minting site here, which will bring you up onto this, and you can connect your wallet and mint your toast and your character and things. So do you want to go over a little bit about that process and something about that quickly?
Sure. So what you need to do is connect your MetaMask on the site and then log in with Discord. So we did this because I think when we first started working on it, there was a lot of projects being botted and being hacked. So we thought we would build a Discord authentication to make sure that doesn't happen to us. I think now what's happening is no one's botting us, so this has become a little bit more complicated than it needed to be. But for right now, I think for the next maybe 24 hours or 12 hours, you need to log in with your Discord, and then you can pick a ticket. So you can buy a maximum of 4 per transaction. We did that also because we wanted to prevent botting. Sometimes for some projects where they allow you to buy 10 or 20 at the same time, some people design bots to just farm everything. And I think many people have asked us, like, isn't it good if you get botted? I mean, you sell out, what's the problem? But our worry was that it would harm people who are actually invested in the project, because if you get someone who owns like 50% of your NFTs because they botted you, and then they are just in it to win the mint rewards with the cool cats and stuff, right? And then they dump the whole collection after that, everyone's price would be affected. So that's why we wanted to space it out. But anyway, going into too much of a technical discussion here, but basically log in with your MetaMask, log in with your Discord, and then you can choose then you can claim a waffle ticket, and then once you have the ticket, you can come back whenever the gas prices are a bit more favorable for you, and you can claim the waffle ticket to finalize the mint. So that's what you need to do on this site.
Oh, cool. So you can always like just reserve yours then, and then choose when to do it when the gas fees are reasonable. Which on a Sunday usually they're okay. So
okay, that's good.
It's like I think it's like Sundays and Tuesdays are often good. I don't know, but cool. Thanks for that. And I guess generally, just to wrap things up on the project, just a little bit, I was looking at the roadmap and things. So if you go onto the website, you can go onto the roadmap and the white paper and things. So just like plans for the future after the mints. Like what do you have in store?
Number one, I want to hire a full-time community manager, so that I can go and do the production side of things, and also fundraising. So a couple of things that I are on my immediate mind is to produce the first generation plushies. So those plushies, they would have a special NFT counterpart as well, and they will have a tamper-proof tag on the plushie, so that you can, if you are an owner of the plushie, you can also own the digital counterpart of that. And that is important to me because that would help to bring in the traditional B2B business down the line. They're telling people like, this is how you connect physical merch with digital merch, and help us, set up that first direct to consumer potential interest of like an online store or web store. So I need to get that product right. So number one, hire. Number two, getting the products out. And then number three, should we finish the mint, I would consider it a success, and I would be calling back some of the venture capitalists that I have been either contacted by or have reached out to properly put together a plan to fundraise for a holding company called Elodia. So that's the working name right now, and then register the Toasty brand under Elodia. So the very, very long-term vision is that whatever we have developed for Toasty and Tasty Toasties, once there is a working model, we want to replicate that to a couple of other character brands. And this time we will bring in other artists to contribute in the same style, kind of like how Sanrio has Hello Kitty, and then they have Gudetama, and then they have Agretsuko, they have a whole bunch of characters. So I want to make sure that we kind of become like a Unilever or P&G, and you have like a whole group of characters. So the next phase really is to fundraise for that holding company so that we can build out the teams that would help Toasty take off much quicker, and then we can start to replicate some of these things to launch different product lines under that holding company. So then for people who have supported Toasty from day one and you own a Tasty Toasty token or NFT, when there is potentially revenue streams coming in from B2B businesses, then that's where you will tokenize it and give early access to a coin that is issued by the holding company to allow everyone who has participated, from day one to enjoy in the profit sharing. Yeah, so that is the very, very long-term vision. Yeah, but immediate next steps, hire and do the product lines and get back to investors.
Hire merchandise and then look to build the brand bigger with side brands. And then hopefully the OG holders, they will get benefits of the side the side projects. Exactly. I have one question to you.
Yeah.
Why Ethereum? Why did you launch on Ethereum? In your eyes?
Yeah. Okay. So when we first started, Ethereum was still the blockchain to go to. So that's where we started the development work. And also because of the trading volume is the largest, and OpenSea is still the largest marketplace. So I think it's kind of like, we wanted to make sure that we go into the most mainstream trading platform, or like something the highest traffic and the most visibility. That being said, every week that we push the project back, another blockchain has come up to be the next hottest blockchain. So it has made us question it. That being said, I don't think that other blockchains are out of the consideration in the future. The pros for us is that in terms of development, it was there is a lot better documentation from the technical perspective for the deployment of the smart contract, and also for Brother to safely deploy or safely develop what it is that we needed to do. I think in terms of resources for the new blockchains, I don't know if they are as built out as they are on Ethereum. So that was his technical perspective and his preference on why he selected Ethereum. For me, it was more of a high traffic visibility kind of thing. I think a lot of the OG projects are on Ethereum, so I kind of wanted to make sure that we brand ourselves and price ourselves there as well. My fear was have the impression that we are a knockoff project on Solana, because for a while there was a little bit of that cultural stigma. So yeah, pros and cons, but I saw someone else asking, did we think about launching on Immutable X? I think by the time people started to move NFTs to other platforms, we were too far into development and we didn't want to change anymore. That's really it's just kind of like what happened.
Yeah, I think as well, like, because a lot of people are talking about, like, obviously you have NFTs that you can do on Solana and Polkadot and Polygon and various different platforms and protocols now as well. But it almost feels to me as though there is the pro side of that where, okay, they're very cheap to mint, which as an investor and someone going into the space, like, might initially seem very beneficial. But my worry with that, and I think it's almost like the gas fees in a way for me have kind of helped some projects with Ethereum, because it's not going to just be a case of, okay, I can mint this for a couple of cents and then flip it for the same price. I think you'll get much more, hopefully, in the instance for you, because gas fees are high, you're not going to want to get in unless you kind of believe in something for a start. So you're not going to get just people flipping them all over the place. It should give it an initial value straight away off the bat, because, okay, it has that gas fee almost priced into it, and then also hopefully it will enable the retention. So once people are into the projects, okay, then they're going to be more reluctant to just like offload it at whatever price and just start flipping them all over the place, because there's a cost involved in that. So I think it seems like the other blockchains seem attractive, and for myself, I've kind of looked into other projects, but like you say, it's you don't want to be seen as a knockoff that's just going on and being something cheap somewhere else. But it kind of gives a bit of value as well there with Ethereum, I think, and that's why, it's problematic for some people, because it does price a lot of people out of the market. But hopefully that won't be the case forever. We know Ethereum, the fees should get cheaper, but it's just it's the time that we're in, I guess, isn't it?
Market timing is it's hard to time the market. Even as someone who was launching, I think we originally wanted to launch at the end of September, but the community wasn't there yet, and then I had to do a bit more of like reaching out to various communities in Singapore at least. So I think we have a strong Singaporean base now, but Singapore is such a small market. And then I think end of October we saw NFT New York, and I was like, okay, I have to go for that. So we ended up pushing it again. So this chasing market timing is difficult.
Cool. Senti, do you have any other questions? And then what we could do is just open it up for just see if there's any questions within YouTube, and then we'll wrap things up just after.
No, I think everything was covered. I just want to reiterate on a suggestion I made in the Discord not too long ago about hopefully maybe in the future we might see you'll be able to combine or merge Toasties into a nice toasty sandwich.
the burning two into one, right?
Yes, I think that would be a great addition.
That'd be really cool.
Yes,
and
you
could build a loaf.
You
could build a whole loaf eventually,
loaf.
And you could just
tasty loaf.
I wouldn't be close to the idea, actually. I think it would be pretty cool if you own two, then you can get a new sandwich. We could totally look into that. It's like how the apes mutated, right? So ours, you get bigger.
I think I saw somewhere on your Discord as well that is there like a plan for like integrating it into like the metaverse side of things, where you can almost like have those avatars go there as a toasty, and like
so
that's a plan. So you have like a little cafe or something, and everyone will be their own little bit of toast.
Correct. So I think many NFT projects are promising games. I don't want to do that. I want to do like a hangout corner for the community, and then it's kind of like in real world. You have like a cafe, and then in the cafe they will have potential things for people to buy. So I'm thinking more of like a mix of a retail and / cafe concept, metaverse concept, so people can pick up metaverse they wear in the metaverse, or they can use to decorate their metaverse galleries, or their furniture for their metaverse home, stuff like that. I think all of those things we probably have to see it like maybe sometime next year before we can start development. What I have learned is in Decentraland, like finding a good Decentraland developer is like trying to find like a diamond under a lot of like rocks. So not sure when we can get that done, but that is what I would love to do. And then if we have any games, then it will be mini games within the space. but it's not like a full-on game because I don't think it really matches the brand. But yeah, I would love to have a hangout spot in the metaverse, and if people can go in as their toasties, like hang out as a toast, that'd be pretty cool.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be cool because you could,
Yeah.
you could do things like you could sell your merch there, and if someone comes in and they're the piece of toast, you could get discounts on the merchandise for being the piece of toast, or you could have those mini games within that, couldn't you? Like people could, they may not make NFTs, but you could, like, I don't know, you could just have like a little corner of the cafe where people can make their own, that you can just buy a sandwich of Toasties.
Yeah, exactly.
As a brand, it's really cool, and that's again like why we became really interested, because it's just good fun, and that's and I think that's the thing, is that for myself being like a trader and stuff, it's a lot of like very serious stuff within crypto, and you're looking at the fundamentals of things within the space, but sometimes it's just nice to be involved in something fun, and like crypto and NFTs, I think that's what it's all about. It's just, if you can have fun and you can make a bit of money on the side of it, then that's great, and that's what it's all about, really.
Yeah, I agree. I love I love hearing that, because that's exactly what I wanted to achieve. So yeah, thank you.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's everything for me. I'm happy to wrap things up, unless there's any questions quickly that come through on the YouTube chat. But I think we basically we went into a lot of detail there. It was fascinating to hear like about just the whole space in general, and about the project from someone who knows about it. And thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much. It was very insightful.
Thank you. So, I had a good time. Thanks for having me.
That's all right. So everyone, I'm going to post this up onto YouTube as like just a general video afterwards, if that's okay. And then Chanel, you're going to be hanging around in the Discords just to answer any other questions that you have, aren't you? Just so if anyone else wants to just say hello or just ask you anything, then you'll be hanging around for a bit afterwards. So
yeah, sure, of course.
Great. All right, thanks so much. So yeah, we'll wrap it up there. And, all right.
Goodbye, Mother Doe.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Mother Doe.
Bye, Sandy Toasty.
Cool. All right.